Chapter 81 An Unexpected Night Encounter. You are listening at novelfull.audio. As night settled, faint moonlight filtered through the clouds, illuminating the castle walls. One by one, students trickled back to their dorms. The common room emptied out, leaving a wide-open space. 3 figures crept quietly down the stairs, one clutching a black cloak. Ribbit. Ribbit. Just as they were about to sneak off, a toad hopped into their path. Trevor. Harry froze, surprised to see Neville's pet. Ignore him, we need to move fast, Ron urged. What's going on? Neville stepped out from behind the sofa, his face a mask of concern as he looked at Harry and the others. He'd been restless and wanted to bring Trevor out for some fresh air. He never expected to stumble upon 3 Gryffindors sneaking out. His sense of responsibility kicked in immediately. He couldn't just let it slide. You're sneaking out again, aren't you? Neville, listen, Harry stammered, looking guilty. He clearly wasn't prepared to explain. No way, you can't go, Neville declared, blocking the doorway with his sturdy frame. We've already lost 150 points. If you get caught out of bed, Gryffindor's going to be in even worse shape. Neville, we don't have time to explain. Just move, Ron said impatiently. There are 3 of us, you can't stop us. I'm ready for this, Neville said firmly, clenching his fists in a fighting stance. But the pajamas and panicked expression made his gesture look awkward and almost comical. Neville, I'm sorry, but... Hermione pulled out her wand. Petrificus totalis. Neville's face paled instantly. His body stiffened, his arms snapping to his sides, and he toppled to the floor with a thud. Ron swallowed hard. You can be a little scary sometimes, you know. Hermione looked at the motionless Neville, her face filled with remorse. I'm sorry, but this is for your own good, really. Let's go. Harry said. They stepped around Neville and slipped the invisibility cloak over themselves as they left through the portrait hole. The cloak covered all 3 of them, so they had to move slower than normal. Meanwhile, Aaron in the Slytherin common room was nearly ready. He had a music box, a Christmas gift that had a soothing melody guaranteed to calm the 3-headed dog. He also had 2 letters written in advance. Their contents were nearly identical. As soon as he confirmed Voldemort was making his move, Aaron would have Abe deliver the letters without hesitation. For added protection, he'd pinned an inconspicuous brooch inside his clothes. It could withstand a full-force attack from a Grand Mage, even the killing curse. Finally, there were his 2 wands, which he examined as closely as if they were quills before an exam. Phew. I'm still too jittery. Should have kept half that sedative. Aaron chuckled, patting Abe's beak before stuffing the 2 letters into its pouch. The green envelope goes to Professor Snape, the red to Professor McGonagall. It's a big job, maybe even life or death. Got it? Abe nodded solemnly, unusually serious. Aaron felt a little reassured. He took out the invisibility potion. He drank a quarter of it and fed another quarter to the holy dragon. This would keep them invisible for nearly an hour, enough time to reach the 4th-floor corridor and wait. If the potion wore off, the remaining half would give them some leeway. After turning invisible, he pulled out a bottle of luck potion, took a sip, and forced a painful gulp down Abe. This should be as foolproof as it gets. Let's move. 10 minutes later, Aaron arrived at the 4th-floor corridor ahead of Harry and the others. He and the dragon synced their breathing, cautiously approaching the wooden door. They had to be vigilant. What if Voldemort was already playing music for Fluffy? Being discovered would ruin everything. Voldemort wouldn't care if they were invisible, he'd just hit them with a killing curse. The lock was still intact, just as it had been at noon. But Aaron was more cautious. If the lock was broken, it would mean Voldemort had already gone through the trapdoor. But the lock was untouched, so Aaron couldn't know for sure. He had to get closer and listen for music. But the room was well soundproofed. After straining his ears, all he could hear was Fluffy snoring. Just as he was debating whether to go inside, a faint red light flashed on the lock, and the door clicked open. Aaron's heart skipped a beat. He clamped a hand over his mouth and Abe's, terrified of making a sound. After the door closed, he breathed a sigh of relief. Now we wait. Aaron put Abe down and gestured toward the corridor, meaning, I'll stay here, you go deliver the messages. Abe hesitated, then reached a claw toward the wooden door, shaking its head immediately. Something's up. Aaron frowned, putting his ear to the door again. Soon, a few lines appeared on his forehead. Besides the snoring of the three-headed dog, he heard the voices of familiar people. Without thinking, he opened the door and walked in. Just as he expected, he saw 3 Gryffindors, Harry, Ron, and Hermione. Why did the door open? Ron asked, confused. Maybe it wasn't shut properly. Harry said, glancing at the automatically playing harp. Snape was here and put a spell on it. I doubt Professor Snape is here, Aaron interjected dryly. He should be sleeping in his dorm. Who's there? The 3 spun around, wands drawn. Relax, Aaron said, removing the invisibility potion. We'll wake Fluffy. Aaron, what are you doing here? Harry asked, surprised. Do you have an invisibility cloak too? No cloak, just a potion, Aaron replied, spreading his hands. He glanced at the harp and his pupils shrank. Since Harry and his friends hadn't set up the music, it had to be Voldemort. He winked at Abe, who was still squatting by the door. Getting the message, Abe darted back out to the corridor. What are you doing here? Trying to get the Sorcerer's Stone before the Dark Lord, Hermione explained, sounding frustrated. But we're too late. Aaron facepalmed. Didn't I say I was going to stop him? Don't you trust me? It's not that we don't trust you, Harry said seriously, we just can't leave it all to you. Fine, but I want to be clear. I'm stopping him for my own reasons, not for you. Whatever. Now you're here, so we're in this together. We're a step behind, but there are still challenges beyond that trapdoor. The Dark Lord hasn't succeeded yet, we still have a chance. Harry said, walking up to Fluffy. We need to move its paw. The trapdoor is down there. No need to move anything, Aaron said impatiently. You all need to go back to bed. You're just going to be in the way, and it's dangerous. What about you? Hermione asked pointedly. You plan on staying, right? That's not important. What is important is that I can definitely escape unscathed. Harry shook his head. We won't let you face this alone. If you fail, we'll back you up. Aaron was speechless. When did this kid become so stubborn? Ron, help me move this paw. Got it. That they heaved the massive paw away, revealing the trapdoor. It opened to a pitch-black passage. Yikes, that looks scary. Driven by curiosity, Aaron peered into the hole. I'll go first. I'll give you the signal before you come down, Harry said, volunteering. If something happens, just run. Chapter 82 Passive Deviation from the Original Plan. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Don't bother explaining, I can just leave, Aaron said, cutting Harry off. He never planned on joining their Gryffindor scheme in the first place. The harp already proved Voldemort's down there. Going after him is just an idiot suicide mission. Harry wants to stop Voldemort from resurrecting. Whatever, it sounds good on paper, but how are they gonna pull it off? With guts? Or brains? Without real power, those are just a free ticket to the graveyard. The smartest move is waiting for the professors, then going in with backup to kick some ass. The others exchanged glances, then stared at Aaron with odd expressions. Don't look at me like that. My plan's totally different from yours, so. Aaron sighed, honestly, I wouldn't go down there. Just my 2 cents, but hey, if you gotta, I won't stop you. Good luck, and see ya. Aaron was about to ditch this death trap when a foul stench hit him, and he looked up. Fluffy's beady eyes were wide open, glaring down at the 4 wizards in front of the trapdoor. Drool, thick as glue, dripped from the dog's jaws, splattering on Ron's shirt. Uh-oh, that Aaron gulped, gave a wry shrug, and dove into the trapdoor without a word. Why'd he suddenly do that? Ron asked, confused. Hold on, Harry said, a bad feeling creeping in. Isn't it a little too quiet? It's the harp, Hermione said, glancing back. It stopped playing. Right. Ron pointed to the drool on his shoulder and looked up at the 6 massive eyes peering down. The music stopped. That means Fluffy. Roar, Fluffy roared, its 3 heads thrashing. Drool flew everywhere as it raised a paw, ready to smash them. Jump, Harry yelled, flipping over the edge and plummeting into the darkness. Hermione and Ron were right behind him, not daring to hesitate. A monstrous roar echoed after them. 2 rows of teeth snapped shut above the trapdoor, saliva dripping as the dog barked. Good thing that trapdoor was small, or we'd be toast. Aaron's wand cast a dim light, revealing their landing spot. Lucky for us these plants are here, otherwise, we'd be goners. Ron stared at the exit above, now blocked by the dog's mouth. They must have fallen 30 feet. Aaron looked at the uneven, plant-covered ground and saw the faint outline of steps in the gaps. He sighed. Another level. Gotta be Professor Sprout's handiwork. Devil's snare. Devil's what? Before Harry could finish, thick, black vines coiled around his legs, more vines wrapped around his arms, his neck, squeezing the air from his lungs. Ron and Hermione weren't faring much better. They weren't completely trussed up, but it was close. What do we do? Ron yelled, panicked. Don't move. Relax. Hermione shouted back. I read that the more you struggle, the tighter it gets. Who can relax right now? Ron cried, tears welling up. We're okay, but Harry's gonna choke. Trust me, Hermione said, feeling herself sink slightly. Just stay still, and you'll be fine. Harry forced himself to calm down, and after a moment, the pressure on his neck eased, and he could breathe again. As he relaxed, his body slowly sank, and soon, he'd be on the next level. Ron couldn't chill out. The more vines wrapped around him, the more freaked out he got. The more freaked out he got, the more vines he got. His struggles spiraled out of control, and soon, his mouth and nose were covered. Only his limbs twitched. Great, Aaron said, slapping his forehead. He pointed his wand. Incendio, a jet of red flame shot from the wand. The devil's snare, which hated heat, recoiled, releasing them and retreating into the shadows. Thump. They landed with a series of thuds. Aaron landed smoothly, bracing himself with one hand. Hermione was relatively okay, but Harry and Ron were sprawled on the ground, groaning. Lucky for them, it was only a few feet to the ground. Otherwise, things would be bad. Turns out, this plant is really scared of fire. Setting it ablaze is way better than chilling. Why didn't you use that spell sooner? Ron whined. He knew how close he was to death. It was more than just the suffocating feeling that was unbearable. For a moment, he was sure that his grandpa was there, waving at him. I didn't know you'd freak out like that. You were practically suffocating, plus, that's school property. I don't want to be stuck paying for destroying it. Ron's mouth twitched, and he opened it to retort, but nothing came out. Ahem. Aaron walked over to the stairs, blocking the only exit, and looked at them. We're safe for now. I still think we should stick to my plan and wait a bit longer. I have to go, Harry said, cutting him off. You idiot. We're already behind. What's the point of rushing in now? He hasn't succeeded yet. Harry pushed his hair back and pointed to the lightning bolt scar on his forehead. It hurts, but I know he hasn't succeeded. But if we don't do anything, he'll come back when he gets that stone. I get it, but even with the stone, it still takes time to turn it into life. So I just sit here and wait for him to kill me? Harry snapped. Aaron hesitated, then silently stepped aside. He wasn't Harry Potter, didn't have a vendetta against Voldemort, and didn't know what it felt like to have a death sentence hanging over his head. Thanks. Harry bolted up the stairs, Ron hot on his heels. Don't worry about it, Hermione said patiently. This is life or death, so he's naturally stressed. Yeah, well, he's stressed and my plans take time. I'm 99% sure I can stop Voldemort, but what he's scared of is just the possibility. So, do you want to go? What do you think? I followed you this far, I can't stay here. If something happens to you guys, my conscience will be destroyed. Hermione smiled and went through the passage. As they continued, the sound of flapping wings grew louder. They reached the end of the corridor and opened the door. It was a massive room, with pillars supporting the high ceiling, and thousands of keys with transparent wings flitting around. If I had to guess, that door's the exit, Ron said, pointing to the opposite side of the room. No kidding. It's pretty obvious, Aaron said. The real question is how do we get there? Alohomora won't work on that door. We need a matching key, but there are a bajillion keys in here. We can't try them all one by one. And even if we could, the process would probably be pretty wild. You think they'll attack us? Hermione asked. Not sure, but I wouldn't rule it out. Getting stabbed by 100 keys can't be fun. Aaron walked to the door and examined it carefully. We need to find the oldest one. It should stand out, but it won't be easy to catch. None of us know the flying charm. Harry spotted a broomstick hovering in the air. I guess we need this. Huh. That's a little too easy, isn't it? The golden snitch is way faster than those keys. Harry, Ron, and Hermione all stared at him expectantly. Hey. Don't look at me like that. Come on, it has to be you, Ron said. You're the best seeker at Hogwarts. If you don't go, who will? But I haven't touched a broom in forever. It's okay, Aaron, you got this, Harry said. You're way better than me. Alright, fine. Since you insist, I'll help out, but just this once, okay? Aaron said, his voice getting excited. You guys go wait by that door and get ready to open it. Without argument, the three went over to the door, waiting by the doorknob. Who? Aaron took a deep breath, took out his wand, pointed it at himself, and shouted, Protego. A white light flashed, surrounding him with an invisible barrier, and a sense of confidence washed over him. Chapter 83. Don't come to me again for such exciting things. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Harry's lips twitched. Even though it wasn't an official competition, it still felt weird to cast a spell on yourself before hopping on a broom. Hermione, did we learn that one? Doesn't ring a bell. I listened to every class, but none of the professors taught it. It's a mid-level defensive spell. You probably won't learn it for a few more years, if ever. But how did you do it? Ron asked. Self-taught, duh. Aaron said, like it was obvious. I may have taken a casual stroll through the restricted section. It's only natural I'd pick up a few spells, right? Can you teach us? Hermione looked at Aaron, clearly hoping he'd say yes. No way, I don't have the time, and you guys don't have the magical juice to pull it off yet. If you really want to learn, bug Professor Flitwick next semester. With that, Aaron grabbed a broom and vaulted onto it. The instant he was mounted, thousands of keys started buzzing around the room like crazy, zipping around every which way and a whole lot faster. A bunch of them swirled around Aaron, the sound of their wings a deafening racket. The trio guarding the door started to sweat. Finding one specific key was tough enough before, now it was damn near impossible. Aaron ignored the key swarm, scanning for a unique key in midair. There! Harry shouted, pointing to a key in the upper left corner. That has to be it. The wings are busted up, and it looks way older than the others. Aaron's eyes lit up. He steered his broom, gunning for the old key. Instantly, every key in the room followed, a dense, clattering torrent on Aaron's tail. After weaving around the pillars for what felt like an eternity, Aaron closed in on the old key. He snatched it, but before he could breathe easy, his heart skipped a beat. The flapping grew louder, more frantic, and the other keys suddenly picked up speed. Their pointy bits were all aimed at Aaron, like a swarm of arrows. Shit! Aaron didn't know if his souped-up defensive spell could block that many projectiles. He wasn't about to find out. He'd end up spending the summer in the hospital. Without thinking, he swerved, ripped the old key's wings off, and chucked them down to his friends below. Hey, desperate times. Without wings, it couldn't fly. He wasn't about to go hunting again in this turbocharged Kinado. Catch! And move it. Harry snagged the key, spun around, jammed it in the lock, and twisted. Click. The door swung open, and the three of them dove through. Aaron steered his broom, swooped down, and followed them. As soon as he was through the exit, they slammed the door shut. Bang. Bang. Bang, star. The wooden door shuddered as the keys hammered against it, a solid wall of noise. Aaron swallowed hard. He doubted his flesh and blood was tougher than wood. Even with a protection spell, getting hit that many times couldn't be good. Well, that was a rush. Don't ask me to do that again. The others nodded in agreement, then moved to the next room. Beyond the door, darkness, except for a single corridor lined with stone statues. I don't like this. Not one bit, Hermione said nervously. Feels like a graveyard, Harry added. Now you're scared. Where was this earlier? It's not a graveyard, unless Hogwarts is closing down. Ghosts and graves are totally different. Aaron rolled his eyes, whipped out his wand, and muttered, Lumos. The end of his wand lit up, banishing the shadows. They saw massive black and white chess pieces and a giant chessboard. The white pieces were on the opposite side, black on this. Wizard's chess, Ron said, stepping forward. Flames erupted on all four sides of the board, bathing the room in light. Yup. To win this game, you gotta win the game. But we're down 2 pieces. Aaron pointed to the 2 empty spots on the black side. A bishop and a rook are missing. Can't we just go around? Harry asked. There's no key. Real bright there, bud. Aaron smirked, walking toward the white pieces. As he tried to cut across the chessboard, a line of white pawns drew their swords, blocking his path. Aaron retreated, and the pawns sheathed their weapons. See? You think the professors are doing this for their health? Never mind, Harry said. How do we play? Easy. White has one more knight than black. Someone just needs to sit on the horse and be the knight, and the game can start. Aaron said, I'm not into chess, so don't look at me. Harry and Hermione stared at Ron. He was the chess expert. Alright, I'll do it. Ron swallowed nervously, staring at the empty knight seat. What about the missing bishop and rook? Harry asked. Do we have to be those 2? You shouldn't have to. If your chess skills are decent, you can win without them. The opponent here just captures pieces. The 2 looked at Ron again, their eyes hopeful. Hey, now. Their level isn't that high. Maybe mine isn't that strong either. I can fight with a pawn or 2 missing, but 2 officers. I'm out. So, we gotta fill those spots. Harry's expression was serious. Aaron, look. My spirit is with you, Aaron said instantly, stepping away. Are you? Harry's mouth twitched, annoyed. Hermione and Ron were speechless. He was bailing before they even started. Don't worry about it, it's great. That's not. I know what you want to say, Harry. But I'm not a pawn, especially not on this chessboard. What does that mean? I may not be as smart as you, but I'm great at wizard's chess. If I can fill the spots, we can still win. Really? Then you, Mr. Master, will protect them. Aaron's tone was knowing. This is serious wizard's chess. You don't think those white pawns have foam swords, do you? That if you win, great. But if you lose, your life might be in danger. Let me say now, I'm not a coward, or I wouldn't be here. And I'm more than willing to fight, but I can't put my fate in someone else's hands. Especially since this isn't life or death for me. Ron looked back at the white pieces and fell silent. Come on, Ron. This level is on you. But what if? If nothing happens, I have no choice. We can't give up now. Harry clapped him on the shoulder and walked to the bishop's position. I believe in you, Hermione said seriously, but you have to be careful. She walked to the other corner of the board and took the rook's place. You. Ron was touched. Aaron was Slytherin and not part of the plan. He had helped them already. Harry and Hermione still chose to trust him, and that moved him. Ron took a deep breath and climbed onto the black horse. He was risking his life for this. Wait, just as he was about to start, Aaron stopped him. What is it? Armor up, armor up, armor up. Aaron cast 3 protection spells on them, then spread his hands. That's all I can do. Maybe those knives can't kill you. Chapter 84 The Power Beyond the Chessboard. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Thanks, that helps a lot. Ron sounded relieved, and Harry and Hermione sighed in relief too. In a potentially life-threatening chess game, they needed some reassurance, and the protective spell offered a little of that. Okay, here we go. Wait. Aaron hesitated, then pulled out a vial. Even if I get unlucky, 1 sip won't hurt. What's that? Harry asked. I think I've seen it before, Hermione said thoughtfully. Isn't that what you drank before dueling that guy in the black robe in the Forbidden Forest? Felix Felicis, liquid luck. Just 1 sip gives you a boost of good fortune. The body-binding curse is supposed to protect you from a killing blow, and this potion should make it so you only get minor injuries at worst. I wasn't planning on using it, but we're in this together. Can't just watch you guys get taken out one by one. Aaron said earnestly, then tossed the bottle to Hermione. I only have one rule, never, ever, ever. Don't worry, Ron interrupted confidently, patting his chest. With the body-binding curse and the liquid luck, we'll be fine. That's not what I'm talking about, don't let it touch your lips. I already took a sip before tonight's adventure, and I have a thing about germs. Ron's face fell, the 3 glanced at each other and nodded. Hermione tipped the bottle and poured a small amount of Felix Felicis into her mouth before handing it to Harry. Harry did the same, then passed it on to Ron. He downed the last of the potion in 1 gulp and tossed the empty bottle toward the corner, where it shattered. Let the game begin. In Wizard's chess, white moves first. When the game signal appears, a white pawn automatically advances 2 spaces. Ron pointed to a black pawn on the edge of the board. Black pawn to d5. Instantly, the white pawn in front of it drew a sword and slashed down without hesitation. The black pawn shattered, sending chunks of rock flying. The 3 of them jumped back in shock. Ugh. I told you this is real wizard's chess. What was the point of testing it? Aaron shook his head, annoyed. Now look, the other side got a pawn. This already tough game just got tougher. Ron, Harry warned, if we keep playing like this, we're all gonna die, no matter how lucky we are. Relax, I've got this, I can win this game without losing a single piece. But as the game went on, his confidence dwindled. Ron used all his wits to push the black pieces to an advantage, but when a black piece was captured, the white pieces were brutally efficient. He needed a way to protect Harry and Hermione, and every move was a massive risk. Crash. Smash. Thump. The sound of stone statues breaking echoed through the chamber. The number of black and white chess pieces dwindled to less than half. Broken rocks littered the room. Now, the only pieces left that could decide the game were the white king, the white queen, and the 3 living black pieces, Harry, Hermione, and Ron, 3 against 2. The solution was obvious. If they could distract the white queen, any of the black pieces could checkmate the white king, but this was wizard's chess, and they had to decide who would face the stone statue of the white queen. Hold on a second, Harry said suddenly. Looks like you get it, Harry. Ron pursed his lips. I have to be the one that's taken out. No. They both said at once. This is chess. There have to be sacrifices. Do you want to let Voldemort get the stone? No, there has to be another way, Hermione insisted. If we wait any longer, the philosopher's stone will be lost. Ron was pale, but forced a smile. I'll be okay. Don't forget, I've got a protective spell and liquid luck. But look at these shattered chess pieces. Are any of them even in one piece? You can't risk your life. Hermione said anxiously. Aaron. Aaron must have an idea. She looked around frantically and finally spotted Aaron napping in the corner of his mouth twitching. Aaron, wake up. Don't sleep. Huh? Are we done? Aaron opened his eyes and stood up from the hard floor. Wow. What a tragic scene. I'm not really interested, but it looks like Black has won. But one of us has to go out there alone and distract the White Queen, Harry said grimly. That means. It means one of you gets to experience what those eaten chess pieces went through, Aaron said, gesturing to the rubble. Lucky for me, I'm not on the board. Being a chess piece really sucks. Is this really the time to joke? Ron asked, tears welling up in his eyes. Why are your legs shaking so much? Wait, is it just your legs? Am I imagining things, or is your whole body shaking? He's offering to sacrifice himself so we can checkmate the White King, Harry said solemnly. Aaron paused, then gave the trembling Weasley a thumbs up. That's the spirit. A brilliant decision. Typical Gryffindor bravery, I'm impressed. The Weasley family will be proud. Go for it. The three just stared at him. Was this guy for real? Was that a note of glee in his voice? Wait, you mean you really want Ron to sacrifice himself? Hermione asked incredulously. We're just going to stand by and watch. What's the alternative? Would you rather it was you or Harry? Aaron countered. At least Ron's riding a stone statue, and with the body-binding curse and Felix Felicis, he probably won't be seriously hurt. What about you? You don't have anything. If you tried to lure the queen, you'd have to use your flesh and blood to block that sword. You'd be dead. Plainly put, Ron is the best choice. Don't you have any other options? Hermione pressed. Aaron raised an eyebrow, giving her a sly look. Not really. Even if I use my methods, Ron will still have to be the pawn. It's just a little less dangerous than being attacked by the White Queen. That's it, then. Ron said quickly, then turned to Harry. When you win, go straight to the next level. Don't hang around. Ron steered the horse statue toward the White King. Check. As soon as he said it, the White Queen slowly turned, stared at Ron with its blank face, and advanced toward him. Harry and Hermione watched anxiously, their hearts pounding in their chests. Ron was shaking all over, but his hands gripped the reins tightly. As the White Queen got closer, she tightened her grip on the long sword and plunged it into the horse's belly. Ah! Ron screamed. Ron! Harry yelled. Suddenly, a white light shot out from the side and knocked Ron into the wall. Harry stopped yelling, stunned. He looked toward the source of the light. Aaron casually put away his wand, looking at the stunned pair. Wasn't that cool? Harry and Hermione were speechless, and could only nod. Was that your plan all along? Hermione asked. Yep, the person controlling the chess pieces doesn't have to be the only one playing the game. Outside forces can influence the board any time. That's a saying from one of my ancestors, and it makes perfect sense. Aaron explained. The white pieces just want to destroy the opposing chess piece. The White Queen's target was the horse Ron was riding. If you get out of the way in time, you're safe. Is Ron going to be okay? Harry asked, worried, looking at the figure lying by the wall. Probably. Probably, they said together, clearly not satisfied. Of course he should be. I had to be sure he was off the board, so maybe I put a little extra force in the spell, but I gave him armor and good luck, so he should be fine. Harry shook his head. You're too much. What? You got a problem with it? Aaron teased. At least compared to that chess piece, his end is better, isn't it? Harry looked at the smashed chess pieces on the board and fell silent. Maybe you're right, but you should have told us beforehand. You didn't ask, besides, I had to time the spell perfectly. If I had told you beforehand, it might not have worked. Oh. A groan came from beside the wall. Harry. Ron. Are you okay? Yeah, I just feel a little pain in my back, and I think I twisted my foot, but it's not too bad. Hang in there, I'll be there soon. Harry sighed in relief and headed toward the White King. Chapter 85 Simple Logical Reasoning Questions. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Checkmate. The White King's sword clattered to the ground, and the remaining white pieces parted, signaling the game's end. We won. Ron asked, still in disbelief. Yeah, but it's not over, Aaron said, eyeing the door guarded by the white chess pieces. The next challenges will be even tougher, and we're definitely facing a major boss. Ron, you okay to be left alone? Harry asked, concerned. Yeah, I guess. Then, I'm sorry, but you're gonna have to wait here and skip the rest of the levels. What? But I've come this far. Ron protested, pushing himself up, but immediately stumbled, nearly losing his balance. Just stay put. Hermione insisted. We can't have you dragging us down, right? If we run into more traps, we won't be able to look after you in your condition. You don't want to slow us down, do you? Aaron added bluntly. Ron opened his mouth, then fell silent, reluctantly collapsing back down. He wasn't totally giving up, but what else could he do? He hated to admit it, but he was a liability now, a dead weight. Usually, no big deal, maybe a few points docked for lagging. But now, his weakness could put the others in serious danger. Wise choice, Aaron chuckled before heading toward the next challenge. Hermione and Harry exchanged apologetic glances with Ron and followed Aaron through the door. A wave of stench slammed into them. Before them was a familiar magical creature, a troll, but this one looked even worse than the one they fought on Halloween. It lay motionless on the floor, a huge lump on its head. Great, looks like we don't have to fight a troll this time, Harry said. Aaron rolled his eyes. Or, you could say the person who got here first was super powerful and took down a giant monster without breaking a sweat. Harry's face fell. He realized that made perfect sense. Only someone seriously skilled would dare try to steal from Hogwarts. Let's just get out of here. Hermione said, pinching her nose. I can't breathe in here. They quickly skirted the giant and opened the next door. No magic here, just a table with 7 oddly shaped bottles. This has Snape written all over it, Aaron mused. Isn't this about brewing a potion? If so, I say we turn around and head back right now. It's way too time-consuming, and by the time we're done, the Dark Lord will have already succeeded. Harry took a deep breath and stepped forward. Instantly, purple flames blocked the door they'd just come through, and black flames erupted in the doorway ahead. Fantastic. Aaron's eyes twitched. Just like Snape, he really doesn't give you an escape route. Here goes. Hermione shrugged, walked to the table, picked up a scroll, and read aloud. Danger lies before you, while safety lies behind. 2 of us will help you, whichever you find. 1 among us will hasten you on your way. Another will only help you return to stay. 2 hold nettle wine. 3 others are here to kill you. Take your pick, unless you wish to remain here forever. To help you in your choice, we give you these clues for first, though poison hides, it's always to. The nettle wines left more. Second, different are those at either end, so none can help you on your journey's quest. Third, neither are giants or dwarfs, any of which will bring only death. Fourth, second on left and second on right, are quite the same in taste so slight. Hermione's eyes lit up. This isn't magic, it's logic. This is perfect. It's definitely Professor Snape. Any wizard who can't reason will be stuck here forever. Don't get too excited, I'd rather not be stuck here. What are you talking about? This kind of logic puzzle takes, like, half a minute to solve. Brewing potions at least gets you something for your trouble. But this is just annoying. Half a minute? Hermione stared at her, then back at the bottles. Are you kidding? It'll take me a minute or two just to figure them out. Harry stood quietly to the side, trying to be invisible. Was he the only one who thought this was impossible? Or was the gap between top students and regular ones really this wide? It's not hard. The key is to analyze it step by step. Aaron walked to the table, took a quick sniff, and pointed to the second bottle from the left and the second from the right. Same taste. Snape must be loaded. You don't see nettle wine like this on the market anymore, not since 20 years ago, at least. The first one on the left is poison. The poison is mixed with the third, fourth and fifth bottles. The bottle on the far right isn't poison or nettle wine, so it takes us back the way we came. And it's the biggest one, the giant, the smallest is the dwarf, which is the one to help us move forward. Aaron spread his hands. Less than 20 seconds. Easy peasy. Harry and Ron stared at him, stunned. You want the one that gets through the black flames, right, Harry? Yes. Harry nodded firmly. Great. Aaron looked at Hermione and handed her the large bottle. Drink up. Get out of here and go back the way you came. But what about you? I'll go. Harry said. This small bottle only has one mouthful, not even a whole mouthful. It's enough for one person to pass. Aaron, you go back with Hermione, and send a message to Dumbledore to get him to come save us. You have nothing to do with this. I'll try my best to stall Snape, but I can't guarantee for how long. Idiot. Aaron sneered. I only agree to let Hermione go back. I'm against everything else. Why? Harry asked, confused. First, that's not Snape inside. I've told you this a million times, but you just can't let go of your assumptions. Second, if you send a letter to Dumbledore now, he'll probably only be able to identify your body when he comes back. The important thing is, I've already thought of everything you've thought of, and everything you haven't. Aaron said, seeing Harry's increasingly bewildered expression, he sighed in exasperation. Forget it, I can't explain it to you. Just understand one thing. I have my own reasons for preventing the Dark Lord's resurrection. And it's not unrelated to me. Is it what happened in the Forbidden Forest? Hermione asked tentatively. After all, in the Forbidden Forest, the man in black robes was quite interested in Aaron, and would rather give up the blood of the unicorn to catch him. Forbidden Forest? Aaron's face flashed with question marks. Oh, yeah, that time. It was the most embarrassing moment of my life. If I don't get payback, I'll lose my mind. But... Harry swallowed. How are you going to stop him? If it's not Snape, it's the Dark Lord. Maybe I can use this scar on my head to turn the danger into safety, but what about you? Don't worry about it. He won't dare kill me. Hermione nodded, agreeing with this. That's true. Well, even so, he can still catch you. He won't get the chance, Aaron said meaningfully. Anyway, unlike you, I never do anything without being sure. And I don't make a move before thinking it through. Harry, why does that sound so insulting? There's still a problem. There's only enough for one person in this small bottle, and there are two of us. TSK. Aaron clicked his tongue, grabbed the nettle wine, and poured the potion from the small bottle into it. That's enough for 3 people, let alone 2. So, should I? Don't talk. Aaron interrupted, drink the other bottle of potion and leave. That's what you should do. No, I don't agree. You don't have a choice. Aaron said, drawing his wand. I won't hurt girls, but this is for your own good. You'll understand once you're outside. You. Hermione trembled, her lips quivering. Really, no way. No, don't even think about it. There's no room for negotiation. Hermione sighed, glared at Aaron with teary eyes, picked up the bulging bottle, and took a big swig. Chapter 86. This mirror is not right. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After chugging the potion from the tiny bottle, Harry and Aaron were hit with a wave of cold, but the potion definitely worked. They walked right through the wall of black flames like it wasn't even there. They headed down a long corridor and reached the final room. No traps, just the mirror of Erased. And standing in front of it was Professor Quirrell, the defense against the dark arts teacher. Harry saw the reflection of the man with his back to them and his jaw dropped. It's you. But, it can't be. It was Snape. It had to be. Aaron facepalmed. I've told you 1,000,000 times, it's not Snape. Still don't believe me, huh? Well, now you can't deny it. Professor Quirrell spun around, his face even paler than usual. Well. Potter. I wasn't expecting you. And a surprise guest. Aaron Gaius. Wow. I guess I should feel special, right? Not everyone gets on Voldemort's radar. Voldemort? Harry was floored. You're saying he's Voldemort? Nah, Quirrell's just possessed. Although, I suspect he's kind of into it. The Dark Lord might be clinging to life, but he's got resources and can offer folks what they crave. Money, a long life, knowledge, power. Quirrell chuckled. I get why the Master thinks you're special. But how did you know? Everyone was suspecting Snape, just like Harry. Snape's not exactly a ray of sunshine, always giving Gryffindor a hard time, while Quirrell's just a stuttering, scaredy cat. I've got a pet that's super sensitive to dark and cold vibes. You were hiding it, but you're too weak, and it slipped. Back in defense against the dark arts, my pet was freaking out at something. I didn't think much of it until I caught the look in your eye. I'm more observant than most, but still, that stare chilled me to the bone. How could a spineless, stuttering guy have that in him? You've killed people, plural. That's when I started to suspect. Quirrell clapped slowly. Impressive. But it's just a hunch, right? Yeah, a hunch good enough for me to figure you were up to no good. Plus, after the Forbidden Forest thing, Snape and Dumbledore both checked on me, but they had official reasons. Then you, the defense against the dark arts professor, wanted to chat, just me, about study tips? Please. Is that so strange? Quirrell said, looking peeved. Isn't it normal for teachers to favor bright students? Sure, but I already pegged you as a bad guy. I just tangled with the hooded figure in the Forbidden Forest. And now, you, the professor who barely knows me, wants to mentor me. Hard not to overthink that. Add to that Harry's scar, unicorn blood that keeps you alive, a sorcerer's stone that makes you immortal, and a creepy hooded figure who won't show his face. Put it all together, and it adds up to you being Voldemort's host. Quirrell hung his head, sullen and silent. Harry pursed his lips, still trying to wrap his head around it all. What about Snape? He jinxed my broom during the Quidditch match. About that. Before Aaron could explain, Quirrell jumped in. Actually, I was trying to off you, and Snape was chanting the counter-curse. If your friend Granger hadn't set my robes on fire and blocked my view, you'd have been a goner in about 30 seconds. Get it now? Aaron asked Harry. Our Slytherin head was trying to save you, and you've been giving him grief all semester. You owe him, big time. Harry nodded, dazed. But he acts like he hates me. He does hate you, but because of your dad. He'd never let you die. I knew you were a threat from day one, especially after Halloween. I let the troll loose, hoping to get you out of the way. Dumbledore messed that up. Then Snape came sniffing around. He's sharper than the others. He suspected me, scared me, threatened me. But he didn't get that his threats meant nothing because I'm not alone. Quirrell stopped, turning toward the mirror of Eriste, his eyes greedy. What does this mirror even do? I saw my desire, handing the stone over to my master. But how do I get it? What you see isn't always what you get, Aaron warned. Dumbledore designed this. The older he gets, the more devious he becomes. Humph. Fine. I'll smash the mirror. I've got plenty of time before Dumbledore gets back from London, and I'll have the stone by then. Go ahead. Maybe you'll end up with nothing. I guess I'll use those two kids, then. The raspy voice echoed around the room. Quirrell whirled around, glaring at them. You two. Come here. Aaron and Harry exchanged glances and slowly moved closer. Look in the mirror. Tell me what you see. They stared into the mirror, trying not to look too nervous. It wasn't their first time facing the mirror of Eriste. Dumbledore suddenly appeared in the mirror. He was holding the blood-red stone and glanced back and forth between Aaron and Harry, finally stopping at Aaron. Aaron's reflection looked conflicted, waving his hands, trying to give the sorcerer's stone to Harry, but he couldn't resist the old man in the end and stuffed the thing in his pocket. Harry, surprised, glanced at Aaron's pocket and saw a bulge. He immediately knew where the stone was. Well? Quirrell pressed. What did you see? Tell me, now. Harry snapped out of it, knowing he had to play it cool. I saw myself shaking hands with Dumbledore, and we won the House Cup. Quirrell rolled his eyes, shoved Harry aside, and pinned Aaron with his gaze. What about you? What did you see? You're not gonna believe this. I saw myself giving the Philosopher's Stone to the Dark Lord. And then, decades later, inheriting his legacy and becoming the third-generation Dark Lord. Aaron delivered the lie with a straight face, his expression of shock perfect. But inside, he was cursing Dumbledore, son of a. The old goat did that on purpose. He was using me as a Slytherin shield to protect Harry. Well, it's not that easy to set me up like that. Master? Quirrell asked nervously. What do I do? One of them is lying. Maybe both. The shrill voice came from the back of Quirrell's head. Let me talk to them. But Master, you're still too weak. Enough. Quirrell unwound the purple turban from his head and turned to face them. Where the back of his head should have been was another face. Harry could see it clearly in the mirror, a twisted, monstrous face unlike anything he had ever seen in the restricted section. It looked like a demon crawling out of hell. I thought there might be some good in you, but I guess I was wrong, Aaron said, a hint of sadness in his voice. Long time no see, Aaron Gaius, Voldemort purred. This is our first real meeting. Though, it's not exactly friendly. Not really, Aaron agreed. I need the Philosopher's Stone to regain my body, and you can help me with that, Voldemort said pointedly. Harry's heart leaped into his throat. Did Voldemort know where the stone was? He shook his head at Aaron, silently pleading for him not to do something stupid. Aaron just grinned, then reached into his pocket and pulled out the red stone. You want this thing, right? Chapter 87 I don't want this hot potato. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Okay, Voldemort said, his voice dripping with temptation as he gazed at the red gem in Aaron's hand through the mirror. Hand it over, and I'll give you anything your heart desires. Ha! Aaron scoffed, sorry to disappoint, but I don't seem to want much. Or maybe, you just can't give me what I want. Ha ha ha. Voldemort boomed. Just as I suspected. A true Slytherin, as ambitious as I once was. Spare me the talk, Aaron retorted, twirling the Philosopher's Stone. Everyone has ambitions, big or small. Truthfully, I'm not keen on handing this thing over to you. You will, Voldemort stated coolly. Didn't you just pledge your loyalty and declare yourself the next Dark Lord? Even if it was a lie to get out of trouble, it could become reality. You possess the noblest and most ancient bloodline in the wizarding world, making you a worthy heir. I will personally train you to your full potential. You almost had me convinced there for a second. Aaron grinned sheepishly, ignoring Harry's worried expression. But I think it will take more than that to win my loyalty. Don't get cocky, Professor Quirrell snapped. Lord Voldemort taking an interest in you is an honor. Quiet, it's not your turn. Voldemort's voice was a rasp, and Quirrell immediately snapped his mouth shut, his face etched with terror. Rejecting my offer, do you understand the consequences? Perfectly. Silence hung in the air for a moment before Voldemort's twisted face broke into a smile. As I thought, we're much alike. And you do have what it takes to refuse me. I've investigated the hidden families, and the results are shocking. Since the dawn of magic, if not earlier, your family has existed. Even pureblood families rise and fall, but yours seems to have grown steadily. Not even the great wizarding wars have affected you. These families hardly concern themselves with the wizarding world, yet they possess immense power and privileges. No one questions it, as if you're entitled to it. Because we never abuse them, Aaron replied seriously. Never. Save the lies for someone else, Voldemort scoffed. I'll uncover what I need to know eventually. But for now, give me the Philosopher's Stone. Didn't I say I don't want to? Aaron said pointedly, turning to Harry. He placed the stone in Harry's outstretched hand, right in front of Voldemort. Why? Harry clutched the Philosopher's Stone, utterly bewildered. Dumbledore trusted you to protect it. But I'm trusting you, Harry Potter. You're braver than I am, and you're the one who least wants Voldemort to get his hands on it. Me? I'm good at keeping myself safe. Between my life and the stone, I'll pick the former every time. Aaron said firmly, leaving Harry no room to argue. Dumbledore had only entrusted the stone to him as an extra layer of protection for Harry as the heir to a hidden family. He certainly had ways to survive. If Voldemort hurt Aaron, he'd face a powerful wizarding family, which would benefit Dumbledore. He clearly never thought Aaron would just hand the stone, this huge magnet for trouble, to Harry. He wanted nothing to do with that hot potato. Aaron, you've turned down the chance of a lifetime, Voldemort said, his voice laced with regret. He then turned his gaze to Harry through the mirror. If you don't want to end up like your parents, give me the Philosopher's Stone. Not a chance, Harry stammered, stumbling backward. Only with Voldemort's eyes on him did he understand how difficult it was to face him with the same confidence Aaron had. Like your parents, you're brave to a fault. They chose death over surrender, but they died nonetheless. Give me the stone, and I promise not to kill you. I'll even bring your parents back to life. Harry, don't let your mother's sacrifice be in vain. Harry hesitated, then bolted for the stairs. Get him. Voldemort roared. Professor Quirrell lunged forward, wand raised, but a spell struck his arm, interrupting his incantation. Run. Run as fast as you can. Aaron yelled. I'll buy you some time, but not much more than 10 seconds. Tears welled in Harry's eyes. He glanced back once, then raced out of the room. You think he can escape? Voldemort sneered. You know how many obstacles lie ahead. Who knows? Aaron shrugged, watching Quirrell raise his wand again, instantly on guard. I wouldn't waste time on me right now. He can't escape. I'll deal with you first, then Harry, and then give the stone to my master. Plenty of time. Just keep him alive and teach him a lesson. Voldemort reminded him. Killing him would only bring trouble with that family. We can't afford that right now. As you command, master. Wait. Aaron interjected. I never fight when I'm at a disadvantage. It's probably too late to catch Harry anyway. What do you mean? Voldemort snapped, turning Quirrell's face toward Aaron. You better explain yourself, or you'll regret it. Well, before coming here, I sent Abe to Hagrid. Figuring the timing, he should be here by now. That oaf. Voldemort scoffed. Unless Dumbledore comes back from London, I fear no one at Hogwarts. True, with your powers, you could escape unscathed from a college professor. But you aren't in good shape either. Completely controlling Quirrell's body is exhausting your life force. How much longer can you last? Long enough to deal with a giant. True, but Hagrid is sharper than he seems when he needs to be. He won't just stand there waiting to be killed. With his help, getting Harry to safety shouldn't be too difficult, right? Voldemort paused, then quickly cast a spell at Aaron's forehead, an emerald flash, and Aaron's eyes rolled back as he collapsed to the ground. Voldemort swiftly moved his face to the back of Quirrell's head. Hurry! Don't let Harry Potter escape. Yes, Master. Quirrell rushed toward the stairs. As soon as he was gone, Aaron's eyes snapped open, a faint smile playing on his lips. He'd gotten away by the skin of his teeth, but the fun had just begun. He rubbed his forehead and pulled a brooch from his pocket, now covered in cracks. This single-use magic shield was beyond repair. The Dark Lord has a great reputation, but he's a little petty, Aaron muttered, examining the brooch with regret. He truly hated wasting the tool that could resist the killing curse. What Voldemort had just used wasn't the killing curse, it wouldn't even cause physical harm. But that magic would give him nightmares for the next month, with Voldemort's terrifying face as the star. Once the curse wore off, Voldemort would more or less become a psychological trigger. The next time they met, he'd feel an underlying fear, making him easier to manipulate. Pocketing the brooch, Aaron hurried out of the room. Meanwhile, Hermione returned to the giant wizard chessboard and briefly explained the situation to Ron. Just as they debated whether to wait for Aaron and Harry or go back, a white figure bounded in from the entrance. Abe, Hermione exclaimed. Not just him. Both of us. Professor McGonagall walked in, followed by a stone-faced Professor Snape. Both looked more disheveled than usual, likely dragged from their beds. Professor McGonagall, Professor Snape, what are you doing here? Hermione was excited but also a bit guilty. They'd already been caught out of bed once, and this seemed worse. They were probably facing expulsion. Mr. Gaius sent Abe with a message. He claimed Professor Quirrell was trying to steal the Sorcerer's Stone and that we should check the trapdoor. Professor McGonagall said angrily. I never imagined you would actually get past the trapdoor. So reckless. It's not like you believed us. Ron protested. If Professor McGonagall had trusted them, they wouldn't have taken such a risk. How could I? You accused Professor Snape of stealing the stone, and he's right here. Hearing this, Snape's expression darkened even further. Professor McGonagall, I may be strict with Gryffindors, but I didn't expect such baseless accusations. It's truly disheartening. Chapter 88 2 verses 1, even called for reinforcements. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Sorry, Professor Snape, Professor McGonagall said awkwardly. I'll have them write a 1,000-word essay later for you to review. It's just not right to doubt a professor without any proof. Snape just snorted, clearly still not happy with that explanation, but McGonagall had spoken, and as a professor and the head of Hogwarts, he had to respect her decision. Didn't Aaron suspect Professor Quirrell too? Ron argued. Did he have any proof? And why did you rush over just because his pet delivered a letter? Harry and I came to find you in person, but you ignored us. That's not fair. Unfair. Professor McGonagall looked surprised. It sounds like you two have the wrong idea. Aaron didn't have proof that Professor Quirrell wanted the Sorcerer's Stone, but he made a deal with Dumbledore. He could call on two heads of house at once, and they'd have to respond. Ron was speechless. Hermione was stunned for a moment, then her face lit up with understanding. Now they knew why Aaron hadn't wanted to go through the trapdoor, and why he'd been so sure he could stop Voldemort. Having the heads of house on call was like having the strongest backup Hogwarts had to offer next to Dumbledore. He could mobilize two of them at any time, so what was there to worry about? All he had to do was figure out when Voldemort would make his move, and then he could stop him for good. No wonder he was waiting at the corridor door tonight. Oh, now I get it. Hermione said, with a slightly embarrassed smile. Ron caught on, too. But why didn't Aaron just tell us? We wouldn't have had to go through the trapdoor and all those crazy obstacles. Would that have helped? Hermione rolled her eyes. He told us he could handle Voldemort getting the Sorcerer's Stone. We were the ones who showed up. He even told us to go back more than once, but we wouldn't listen. After we got past Devil's Snare, he told us to wait. But we were too worried that Voldemort would grab the stone while we waited, so we had to go to the next room. Ron winced. She was right. They had insisted on going through the trapdoor, and Aaron had tried to stop them, only to get dragged in himself. So, we went down there for nothing. Worse than nothing. You probably just cost Gryffindor a ton more points, Snape drawled. What? Hermione and Ron felt their stomachs drop. They'd already lost 150 points, a record for Gryffindor. If they lost even more, they'd never live it down. Pay him no mind. At least your hearts were in the right place, Professor McGonagall said reassuringly. If someone really was trying to steal the Sorcerer's Stone, then what you did tonight wasn't wrong. It was heroic. Okay, that's good, Ron sighed in relief. But why Professor Quirrell? Hermione asked. He doesn't seem the brave type. We don't know for sure, but it's always good to check it out, Professor McGonagall replied. Enough talk, Snape said sharply, glaring at them. Where is my student? Where's Aaron with Harry Potter? If they got through, they'd be at the last room, Hermione said awkwardly. The next room is the troll, but it looked like he was already knocked out. As for the obstacle you put up, Professor Snape, Aaron got through it in about 20 seconds. 20 seconds? You're kidding me, right? I wish I was. Professor Snape and Professor McGonagall stared at each other. They had thought that room would slow those students down for a while, but it seemed their plans couldn't keep up. Having an excellent student was great, but Aaron was so outstanding, it was getting ridiculous. Snape took a deep breath and hurried toward the next room. Professor McGonagall was worried too. Granger, take Ron and get out of here. If this is true, it could be dangerous. There was a magic broom in the previous room that will let you fly out of the trapdoor. As for the three-headed dog, he's asleep, so don't worry. But. No buts. You two would only be a hindrance. We don't need any distractions. Hermione nodded and started to help Ron leave. Just then, Harry screamed as he ran out of the troll's room, nearly colliding with Snape who was walking in. You can't escape, Harry Potter. Professor Quirrell sneered. Hand over the Sorcerer's Stone. But as he stepped out of the room, a wave of pain swept through him. Dark lines appeared on his face. He noticed Snape and McGonagall and realized he was in trouble. Professor, help me. Harry said, overjoyed, and ran behind Professor McGonagall. Are you all right, Mr. Potter? I'm okay for now. Thank goodness you got here. Where's Aaron? Snape asked. Harry hesitated, seeing Hermione and Ron staring at him. He lowered his head in shame. I don't know. How could you not know? Hermione demanded. Weren't you going to the last room together? Yeah, but we got the Sorcerer's Stone in the Mirror of Erist. Dumbledore put it in Aaron's pocket, and he gave it to me. Then, to buy me some time to escape, he faced Professor Quirrell alone. Oh, and Professor Quirrell's possessed by Voldemort now. It's creepy. Hearing that, everyone felt their hearts sink. If Quirrell was here, that meant Aaron was in danger. No. No, this can't be happening, Hermione whispered, stumbling backward. Her eyes glazed over, unable to accept the terrible news. Hermione, Ron said gently, pull yourself together. How can I? If anything happens to him, it'll be at least partly our fault. Snape was in a foul mood as well, but unlike the kids, he had seen much worse and was quick to compose himself. What did you do to my student? You shouldn't be asking me that, Snape, Professor Quirrell said calmly. Voldemort did it himself. I didn't kill him. A raspy voice spoke suddenly, and a grotesque face formed where the back of Quirrell's head should have been. That little twerp was surprisingly gifted and resourceful. I couldn't bring myself to off him. Besides, I know Dumbledore well enough to see through his tricks. I just didn't think he'd be outsmarted by a little wizard. Gaius said he'd told Hagrid before he left, but I didn't realize it was to send you two after me. To trick me like that takes real talent. What did you do to him? Snape asked again. Nothing much. I put a little spell on him to keep him awake for a month. Voldemort sneered. Severus, I'm giving you a chance. Cast aside the dark, embrace the light. Help me get the stone, and I. Professor Snape won't help you, Aaron said, stepping out of the shadows. I thought you guys were supposed to be fighting. That's the best you could do. I'm disappointed. What's wrong with you? What do you mean, what's wrong with me? Aaron threw his hands up. I prepared for everything before coming here. A letter to let the professors know what was going on, a music box to put the three-headed dog to sleep, a potion to boost my luck, even a magical charm to withstand a full hit from a top-level wizard. And, guess what? I used most of them. Your spell didn't do a thing to me. The situation is pretty clear, 2 against 1. You're done for. Really? Voldemort smirked, shooting a meaningful look at Snape. That's not necessarily true. Nah, you're really done for, Aaron said, glancing at Professor Snape. Even if you have a plan, it won't work. Haven't you wondered why Hagrid isn't here? That oaf. Voldemort looked stunned, and a bad feeling started to form in his stomach. Anyone could be missing, but Hagrid? Hagrid had a big soft spot for those Gryffindors. He had to be here. Could it be? That's right. Once I knew Dumbledore had left, I figured you'd make your move. Hagrid is pretty good at getting messages to people, and I convinced him to tell Dumbledore. With Dumbledore's power, half a day is all he needs to get back to Hogwarts. And, I bet Voldemort in his current state is no match for Dumbledore at full strength. Chapter 89 The Last Straw That Broke the Camel's Back. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Voldemort was silent for a long moment, then turned Quirrell's face forward, using what little life and strength he had left to completely control the body. He stretched, cracking his joints, and then pulled out Quirrell's wand, a 9-inch alder wand with a unicorn hair core, not exactly ideal for Voldemort, nor particularly comfortable in his grip, but it would have to do. Aaron used the distraction to duck behind the two professors, joining Harry and the others. Aaron, I'm starting to admire you more and more. Never thought Dumbledore would show up this early, Voldemort sneered. But for me, it's not game over yet. If I can just snag the Sorcerer's Stone before he gets back, this body can only take me to about Great Wizard level, tops. Facing two professors will be a bit of a challenge, but not impossible. Then give it your best shot, beat those two professors, and we'll hand over the Sorcerer's Stone, no problem. I hope you're good for your word. Voldemort grinned and attacked. Even though he was weakened and only operating at a fraction of his former strength, a wounded lion was still dangerous, and he was holding his own against two seasoned wizards. Green curses slammed against red spells, echoing through the room, and broken chess pieces scattered from the impact. Aaron watched the battle with interest, a clash that at least a qualified wizard could join. It wasn't about trying to learn any techniques at this point, since he was confident he'd reach that level soon enough. He just wanted to see the spectacle. Aaron, Harry said, too anxious to enjoy the fight. What were you saying? You can't hand the Sorcerer's Stone to Voldemort. I said that for our own protection. Voldemort's too arrogant to bother with us until he's dealt with the professors, but we still need a plan. Besides, if those two can't take him down together, we sure as heck can't hold on to the stone ourselves. It's either give it up and live, or he kills us and takes it anyway, no risk, no reward. I'd rather live for another day. What's your call? I'd rather die than surrender, Harry said hotly. Attaboy, Aaron said, raising a thumb. He flicked his wand, and the sorcerer's stone flew from Harry's hand into his own. Before Harry could react, he continued, I admire your guts, I really do. You're willing to throw your life away, that's true bravery, but just because you don't value your life doesn't mean I don't value mine. Voldemort might not cut you any slack, but the three of us are different, we have a chance to survive. Harry looked conflicted, he and Voldemort were enemies. Only one could survive, but he didn't want to drag anyone else down because of his choices. Feeling a little torn? Aaron asked, sensing his hesitation. I'll give you that, you have a strong sense of justice and you're a true Gryffindor, but let me tell you, not valuing your own life isn't brave, it's just dumb, you gotta stay alive to have a chance to win. If you die, that's it, the end of the road, I'm not you. I won't fight if I don't have to, and I'm not about to go charging in against certain doom. If you want to die to prove a point, knock yourself out, just leave me out of it. What if we just ran? Hermione suggested. I'm in. We should have left a long time ago, Ron added. If we just hold out until Dumbledore gets back, we're golden. Huh. That's not a bad idea, but just a heads up, you'd have to be really quiet and really fast, which isn't exactly easy, considering our injured friend here. You think Voldemort might not let us leave? Hermione asked, a grim look crossing her face. Think? He won't, he's locked in a battle with the professors, but he's still got one eye on us. If we make a move, he'd probably risk getting hurt just to stop us. Because once he has the Sorcerer's Stone, he can rebuild his body. He doesn't care about Quirrell's health after that. The three looked at each other, and Harry hung his head. His clenched fists betrayed his frustration. Can we really just sit here and do nothing? We're wizards too. We could help the professors. Forget it. Aaron said bluntly. Harry's face fell. Was I wrong? It seems, a little off, Hermione said with a shake of her head. Why? Hermione hesitated, then went silent. Ron opened his mouth, grimaced, and turned away. Aaron smiled playfully, patted Harry on the shoulder, and looked away. Take a good look. Is that a fight you could actually join? Tell me, what's your skill level? I'm probably an intermediate wizard, Harry said sheepishly. Then get a grip, okay? At your level, you couldn't even land a surprise attack, and there's no chance of a sneak attack anyway. In a duel like that, you three would just be cannon fodder, and a stray curse would knock you across the room. What about you? Harry asked hopefully. Me? Aaron chuckled. I'm only slightly better, more like a bigger piece of cannon fodder. So, we just have to sit here? Hermione asked, unwilling to accept it. Nope, Aaron said meaningfully. You can also pray Dumbledore gets back ASAP. With that, Aaron found a place to sit and focused on the duel on the chessboard. At this point, Professor McGonagall and Professor Snape were starting to struggle. After all, they were facing the Dark Lord. Even weakened, he could still push himself to the limit and fight tooth and nail, forcing them to do the same, but neither professor was willing to risk it all. At the very least, they wanted to retain the strength necessary to protect the students. Voldemort cackled, chanting an arcane incantation. With a flick of his wand, a deadly green light erupted. The two professors raised their wands in unison, desperately casting spells of their own, one red and one white, barely managing to block the attack. The three spells collided in mid-air, pushing and pulling like a tug of war, locked in a tense stalemate. Ahem! Voldemort suddenly winced and coughed up black blood. The green light faltered, he regained his focus, suppressed the pain, and poured more power into the wand, pushing the spell back. The stalemate continued, with the green curse slowly gaining the upper hand. As Quirrell's body aged at an alarming rate, the two professors were also feeling the strain. Their faces were pale and foreheads were slick with sweat. Almost, Aaron muttered, rising to his feet. Almost what? Harry asked, confused. Almost time for us to be the straw that breaks the camel's back, Aaron replied. Voldemort couldn't help but laugh. Feel free to try. Don't be reckless, Professor McGonagall warned. You're too weak. This is above your level. She's right, Snape said, his face grim. Relax. I know what I'm doing. Absolutely not, Snape snapped. Don't think a little talent makes you invincible. Voldemort is more powerful than you can imagine, he could kill you with one hand. I know. That's why I waited. Aaron tossed the red gem in his hand, throwing it at Voldemort while everyone looked on in surprise. The Sorcerer's Stone shot through the air, striking Voldemort directly in the head. He seemed surprised, but he quickly recovered. A grin spread across his face as he held the wand steady against the two professors. Reaching out with his free hand, the stone slowed, floating towards his grasp. That's your plan? Harry asked, face-palming. Pathetic. Is it too late to run? Ron asked nervously. Relax. Let the magic stone fly for a second. Even as he said the words, a roar echoed from the ceiling, a white blur descended, and just as Voldemort reached for the Sorcerer's Stone, a claw slammed into his back. Chapter 90. The urge to grab someone's head. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Boom. The hit came out of nowhere. Voldemort never saw it coming and took the full brunt. He not only failed to grab the Sorcerer's Stone, but the constant stream of magic he was channeling got cut off. The two professors' spells instantly overpowered his killing curse, slamming into him. Arg! Voldemort screamed, the pain making him convulse. Quirrell's face, now stuck to the back of his head, screamed even louder, a mangled mess of blood and agony. Voldemort instantly felt his strength plummeting, like he could ditch this body at any moment. But Professor Quirrell, as the body's host, was doomed to suffer irreversible damage until he finally croaked. Master, I can't hold on much longer, Quirrell stammered, his words as broken as the act he usually put on, only this time, it wasn't an act. It was for real. Shut your mouth, you spineless fool. You were standing guard and didn't even spot the sneak attack. Voldemort snapped, then whirled around to face whoever had blindsided him. Everyone stared in disbelief at the white figure hovering in the air. Is that a dragon? Hermione whispered. It has to be. Ron gulped. My brother sent pictures once that looked kinda like baby dragons, but this is off the charts. Even Charlie's probably never seen a dragon as pure white and majestic as a unicorn. Come here. Aaron waved, and the young dragon swooped down. As it landed, it shrank rapidly, morphing back into Abe, a bright red gem clutched in its jaws. Good boy, you did great. I'll get you a whole turkey when we get back. Aaron patted its snout and took the stone. It's you. Voldemort recognized Abe from that brutal kick he'd taken in the Forbidden Forest. Rage surged through him. He wanted to kill him right then and there, but he was barely hanging on, Quirrell's body counting down its last moments. No matter how much he seethed, revenge was out of reach. Still, he was intensely curious about this dragon. Dragons were the ultimate magical beasts in the wizarding world, powerful but rare. It wasn't like you never saw them, but this was the first time he'd ever seen a dragon that looked like nothing he'd ever seen before and could freely change sizes. Recognize him? Look familiar? Aaron grinned. I didn't think I'd need Abe's help, but you forced my hand. Good thing I pulled it off. Humph. It's not just luck. You timed it perfectly, using the stone as bait, and I couldn't resist. Voldemort studied Abe, so different from the majestic beast he'd been just seconds ago. What is that thing? You've been at Hogwarts for half a year. If it was a dragon, it shouldn't still be that tiny. Sharp as ever, Dark Lord, catching on right away. Aaron knew Abe's secret was out, so he decided to play along. After a moment he offered a half-truth. It's a family thing, passed down through generations. This one just happened to hatch in my lifetime. He only recognizes my blood, but he grows super slow. An honor, indeed. Voldemort said with a dark smile. Seeing such a creature before this body crumbles, worth the price of admission. With those words, Quirrell's mangled face on the back of his head broke out in a panic. Master, you can't abandon me. I'm your most loyal servant. Silence. The Dark Lord never abandons a loyal servant. Voldemort snapped. I've faced setbacks before, but I never die. I may give you a new life when I return. Thank you, Master, thank you. Quirrell dissolved into grateful tears, then his eyes went blank. As soon as he closed his eyes, the back of his head crumbled into black dust and vanished, leaving only Voldemort in control of the front. Yikes. That's brutal. Aaron winced. Harry and his friends stared, mouths agape. McGonagall and Snape, being older, kept their cool. Death was a mercy for him. Quirinus Quirrell gave his life for the great Dark Lord, and it was his honor. Voldemort said flatly. Perhaps you will come to agree with this when you surrender to me in the future. Aaron, crap. Even now, he wouldn't let it go. What made him think he was so worthy of the Dark Lord's attention? Harry Potter's way better than me, and there's no way I'm surrendering to you. So, you should probably focus on him. Harry's jaw dropped, and he shot Aaron a look of pure betrayal. No need to remind me. I never planned on letting him go, Voldemort snarled. Believe me, time will prove everything. Someday, you'll see that becoming my heir is the best decision you'll ever make. Aaron pondered that, glanced at the backs of the two professors, and said, Professor McGonagall, Professor Snape, could you do me a favor? Could you let him catch his breath for a second and I'll finish him off myself? That's highly inappropriate. McGonagall sputtered. Sure. Aaron's timely attack had left Voldemort reeling, a full-force hit from him and Snape pushing his crumbling body closer to collapse, but a 12-year-old student executing even the Dark Lord was a line they couldn't cross. Snape remained silent, saying nothing. Severus, let him do it. Voldemort let out a hollow laugh. The second-generation Dark Lord rises, and he is worthy of being my chosen successor. What the hell? Aaron couldn't help blurting out. He'd only planned to sneak in and steal the last hit, but now he was suddenly faced with inheriting this whole thing. He's supposed to follow you and stand on the opposite side of the magic world. He had to be out of his mind to pass up the narrow path and become a black terror in the magical world. Are you certain? Snape asked, frowning. Don't tell me how to do things. I know what I'm saying, Voldemort snapped. Harry Potter traded his parents' lives to become famous in the wizarding world. But he gained my recognition based on his confidence, wisdom and courage. Understood. Snape, you. I don't agree with this. Aaron is only 12-year-old. Professor McGonagall, his time is running out. Snape said calmly, Voldemort is a tycoon in the wizarding world, and we should respect his wishes before his death, and, this is what Aaron meant too. No, he is also my student. He should not be exposed to these things at a young age. Don't forget his origins. It would be a good thing for him to be exposed to these things earlier. Professor McGonagall immediately retorted speechlessly. Voldemort would come back sooner or later, and the entire magical world would be in turmoil. Those well-known wizarding families were the ones he wanted to conquer. Aaron is the sole heir of the Gaius family and will face this sooner or later. Have you discussed it yet? Voldemort asked impatiently. Let's start after discussing it. I will use your embarrassed appearance to prove the power of black magic. Avada Kedavra. Green light flashed from Quirrell's wand, and Snape and Professor McGonagall immediately waved their wands to fight back. The two white rays of light merged together, became thicker, and collided with the green death curse. Boom. After a long time, the magic spread out from the midpoint of the collision of the magic spell. The shock wave splashed fragments on the ground, and flying dust filled the entire room. Aaron and others who were watching the battle only vaguely heard the sound of a few heavy objects falling to the ground. "Professor, are you okay?" Harry asked anxiously. However, a shaky figure came out of the dust. The weak Voldemort gave several people a terrifying smile, and then turned his attention to Aaron. Hey. Don't look at me like that, I'm scared." "I can't see how you look scared," Voldemort said hoarsely. "Look at them all trembling, they don't even have the courage to look at me, but you are different. You have 2 wands in your sleeves ready to go, which is nice. You want to kill me, it's easy, you can do it easily." "Madman." Aaron stopped pretending and took out 2 wands. "You only have the strength to wait for death, otherwise I will run faster than anyone else. Sure enough, you are just like me when I was young." "Don't be ridiculous, I'm not the same as you," Aaron retorted. "It's your biggest mistake to think of me as an idiot like you." "Any last words?" "Dumbledore can't give you what you want. I'm waiting for you to come to me."